Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Neglected by His Parents for Sister Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. To-san, Ka-san, Mito-chan. Came the excited shout of a young girl who looked to be about 8 years old. She had red hair that was tied into 2 short pigtails. She also had deep, clear cerulean blue eyes and a heart-shaped face, which possessed 3 whiskers on each cheek. She wore a loose red shirt with an orange toad on the front. Her excitement was due to her feet sticking to the surface of a tree after multiple failures of doing so. Before anything could be said, a red blur grabbed the young girl from the tree and did 2 things. Squeeze her tightly to a point she had trouble breathing and spin her around so fast the young girl thought she would puke. The red blur was none other than Kushina Uzumaki, the young girl's proud mother. I'm so proud of you, dear. You will become a really strong kunoichi very soon. Your mother is right, Nami-chan, came the proud voice of her father, Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash and 4th Hokage of Konoha. Next to him was another girl that looked to exactly like Nami and also looked to be about 8 years old. In fact, the only difference between the two was that her hair was tied into a ponytail and instead of blue eyes like her father, she possessed the violet eyes of her mother. This young lady is Mito Uzumaki Namikaze, twin sister of Nami Uzumaki Namikaze. Yeah sis, I knew you could do it. She cheered for her younger twin by 6 seconds. She had got the chakra exercise down yesterday and was waiting for her dear sister so they could advance together. After finally gaining her balance from her mom's spinning hug of death, Nami grinned at her twin. Yeah, now we can both continue to get stronger and become super powerful kunoichi. The family were then seen talking and playing together happily. To anyone looking at this, then it was the epitome of a picture-perfect family. A loving and proud father, a caring and slightly overprotective mother, and 2 close siblings that loved each other dearly. There was only one problem for this picture: not all members of this perfect family were participating in this loving moment. In fact, the missing family member was watching the whole interaction from a window in the living room. The person was a young boy who was about a year older than the 2 twins. He had spiky blonde hair, similar to his father Minato's, with the tips being blood red in color. He had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, making him look like a fox. His eyes showed that he was heterochrome due to his left being an ocean blue, but his right being a deep violet. He wore an orange jacket that was wide open, with the trademark spiral of the Uzumaki on the back and a black shirt underneath. He also had red anbu pants and blue shinobi sandals. This young man was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the neglected son of Minato and Kushina. Naruto was neglected for his younger sisters. This was due to 8 years ago, Konoha was attacked by the Kyuubi no Yoko. The powerful Biju was forced to attack Konoha by a man who wielded the powerful Sharingan eye of the Uchiha clan. Minato fought the masked man and freed the Kyuubi from his grasp with the help of Jiraiya, who had come to check on the birth of the twins at the time, having missed Naruto's birth because of his spy work. The former 3rd Hokage, along with every available shinobi, held the Kyuubi off as best they could. The Kyuubi, in his anger and still slightly hypnotized state, began to charge a Bijutama to obliterate Konoha off the map, but due to Minato's appearance and use of his Hiraishin, was able to teleport the attack away from the burning village. Jiraiya appeared with a battle toad and pushed the Kyuubi back before Minato appeared alongside the boss toad, Gamabunta. Together they were able to force Kyuubi away from the village and into a safer place for their battle. The fight was long and difficult and the Kyuubi easily showed why it was the strongest of the tailed beasts by not only beating the boss toad, but also the battle toad Gamaken and tossing Minato and a sage mode Jiraiya around like kittens. Knowing they couldn't win the fight, Minato left to get his daughters and Naruto so he could seal the Kyuubi away once again. After a brief argument with his wife and Tsunade, who was the only reason that Kushina was still alive alongside her blood as an Uzumaki, he teleported back to the battlefield to see Kyuubi defeat another battle-toad Jiraiya summoned named Gamaken. Acting quickly, Minato used the Reaper Death Seal and summoned the Shinigami himself to seal the Kyuubi. Thanks to the help of the Death God, the Kyuubi was split into 3 parts: the Yin Chakra, which went into Nami, the Yang Chakra, which went into Mito, and the Soul, which went into a still confused, but scared Naruto. Due to the Soul having so little chakra, Naruto didn't have to worry about a chakra overload. Ready to have his soul taken, the Shinigami allowed Minato to survive, much to the shock of Jiraiya and the 4th Hokage. The reasoning he gave was that things were being put into motion, and his soul was not needed, but to not expect him to be lenient the next time they meet. Afterwards, Minato told the people of Konoha what happened and told them that his daughters were the heroes of Konoha for holding the beast's power from him. This caused the crowd to cheer for the now dubbed princesses of Konoha. When the twins hit the age of 3, Minato and Kushina began to train them to be able to control the Kyuubi's violent chakra, completely leaving Naruto out due to him not being as special as his sisters. It wasn't just the training that they neglected him from, it was also everything that came with being a family. Birthdays, family outings, family meetings, even dinner sometimes. When he wanted something and the twins wanted something else, well, you could guess what happened with Naruto's choice. Even his own sisters didn't give him much attention, but at least they tried compared to his parents. The villagers on the other hand were far worse, due to them believing that Naruto was the demon fox that destroyed their village. They would either glare at him, curse him to death, and attack him on rare occasions. Those who knew Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi, but attacked anyway, believed by hurting the vessel then they were hurting the fox itself, and that was good enough for them. That's not to say everyone treated Naruto badly, he actually was able to make some friends within the village. He had the Hyuga clan, after stalling the Kumo Jonin long enough for Hiashi to incapacitate him and saving Hinata. He also had the backing of the Uchiha clan when Itachi found Naruto bleeding from one of the attacks by the villagers, and took him home to be cared for. He stayed for 2 days and became close friends with both Sasuke and Satsuki Uchiha, Itachi's little brother and sister. His family didn't even notice he was missing. He was also friends with both Ayame and Tsuki Ichiraku, a daughter-father ramen stand owner who fed Naruto from time to time, and even the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, who helped train Naruto in seals from time to time. After hearing his parents laugh when Nami fell off the tree on top of Mito, Naruto's eyes narrowed in anger. He just, while not hating them yet, did not like being ignored. He no longer saw any of them as his family, yet still cared for his sisters slightly. He rarely ever refers to himself as Uzumaki or Namikaze unless it's formal, which he hates formalities to begin with. Deciding he had enough of watching his sisters train while leaving him out, he left to his room, walking right past it. He walked past his sister's room as well until he reached the end of the hall and pulled on the rope hanging from the ceiling. A door opened up as a set of stairs descended down and hit the floor softly. These stairs led to the attic of the house. This was Naruto's playground. He conducted all his training in Fuinjutsu, jutsu theories, or even reading of high-grade ninja training here. The attic was very spacious, as can be found in some big houses. More than half of his weapons that he's gathered over the years have been stored here. Naruto pulled down the wallpaper for the attic and used the walls as shelves. There was also a window in the back that allowed light and air into the room. Also, unlike other attics, this one was clean, not a dust or even cobweb could be found. Walking to the left, Naruto placed a scroll that had a fire emblem on it, on the wall shelf. Fire style. Intelligent hard work is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, Naruto said out loud. What did you expect? You are a natural wind and water affinity, came a voice from above Naruto, causing him to look up at the one who spoke. The culprit who spoke was a strange creature that possessed blue skin and looked like a childlike canine. It had short black legs and torso, a blue tail, and a yellow collar. It had rounded bumps on the back of its forepaws, instead of hands. It wore a black mask, and had red eyes with black slit pupils. It wore a smirk as it stared at Naruto. Shut it, Ryolu. It just means that I have to train harder to get it down. After all, I am trying to learn an A-rank jutsu. Yeah, but he does have a point, Naruto. You learn techniques by doing them right, not having the technique blow up like 15 times, came an amused voice that began chuckling. Following the voice's direction, he found the culprit laying near the window and basking in the glow of the afternoon sunlight. The one that spoke was a small slate gray, fox-like creature with red and black accents. Its ears were a triangular shape along with a large tuft of fur tipped with red on the top of its head. It has greenish, blue eyes with red eyelids. There are circular, red markings above the eyes that resemble eyebrows. Its muzzle is short and tapered with two small fangs seen protruding from the upper jaw. It also possessed a ruff of black fur around its neck and 4 short limbs tipped with red. It also had a short bushy tail. Whatever, Zorua, like you have any room to talk, Naruto snipped back while sticking his tongue out at the now named Zorua. In response, the 3 occupants stared at each other for a moment before laughing at their banter to each other. As they laughed, Naruto thought back to when these 2 joined his life, the day he almost lost his smile. The best and worst day of his young life. Flashback 2 years ago. "2-san, Ka-san," yelled a 7-year-old Naruto who ran into the house, only to find the place completely empty. Looking around, Naruto saw the house not only clean, but not a single soul was there. "2-san, Ka-san, where are you?" Still no response. "Mito-chan, Nami-chan, are you guys home?" Nothing. Naruto continued to look around, but still found no one. Naruto ran up the stairs and down the hall to his parents' room, which was left wide open. Naruto was hoping to tell his parents about learning his elemental affinities from Hiruzen Jiji and maybe convince them to train him now with his sisters. He knocked on the door before entering the room, only to find it empty too. Deciding to look around the room, Naruto walked over to his parents' desk and noticed something laying there. It was a piece of paper that read Clan Air documentation. Being a curious child, Naruto read the paper. He was really smart for his age, even if he was a goofy kid, and was downright crying by the end of the paper. The paper read, "Due to circumstances of not only strength and political ingenuity, we, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, head of the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, hereby denounce Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze as clan heir of both clans and transfer the titles to Mito Uzumaki as head of the Uzumaki clan and Nami Namikaze as head of the Namikaze clan when they reach the age of 10. This is agreed upon by both clan heads. Minato Namikaze. Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto could not believe what he just read. He didn't want to believe what he just read. His clan heir status, the only real connection he had left emotionally to his family, has been taken from him. He couldn't take it anymore right now. He had to get away. So he ran. He ran so fast through the village that he didn't even register the glares or sneers of the villagers. He continued to run until he reached the training grounds where he normally trains at alone, Training Ground 3. "How could they do this to me?" Naruto cried mentally as the hot tears flowed down his whiskered cheeks. "I barely have anyone to call a friend, no one really gives me the time of day, and my parents don't even want me." Falling to the ground next to the big lake, Naruto curled into a ball as he cried harder. Due to all of his crying, Naruto never noticed the giant ripple forming in the lake, or the giant shadow that looked through the ripple with red eyes and black pupils before it flew off. The ripple lasted for a few moments before vanishing once again. A few hours later, Naruto woke up due to crying himself to sleep near the riverbank. As he got up, Naruto stretched and yawned before looking at his reflection in the water, seeing that his face filled with the indication of dried tears. Deciding to clean up his face before going Home, Naruto bent forward to wash his face in the lake, only to trip on the wet ground and fall forward into the water. Before Naruto hit the water though, a ripple appeared in the water once again, and this time a loud roar was heard from it. This caused Naruto's eyes to widen in fear and only got wider as the water seemed to become circular and cave in on itself, exactly where Naruto was falling in. Naruto did the only thing he could think of in that brief moment. Scream out in fear and shock. "Ah, help," were his last words before the portal completely shut and the ripples on the water vanished, like it was never there in the first place. After falling through the hole in the water, Naruto found himself falling up from the lake. He landed safely on a patch of grass and took quick breaths from screaming so loud and with no breath intake. Getting up, he finally took notice of where he was at, which essentially meant he was clueless. For miles, the only thing Naruto could see was a thick fog. The only other visible thing to him was the cut grass in the lake behind him. Starting to get nervous again, Naruto looked around quickly and began calling out to see if anyone was around. "Hello? Is anybody there? Please, this isn't funny." Suddenly Naruto heard rustling of grass to his left. Quickly pushing down his rising fear, he looked to the source, but saw nothing there. Hello, is anyone there?" he called out in a much quieter tone than before. This time the rustling happened again, and looking quickly he saw a patch of brown among the green grass. "Hello, can you help me?" The response to his question was for the brown patch to take off in the opposite direction from him. This caused Naruto to give chase after it and continue calling to it. "Wait, stop. Please, wait up." After running what seemed like 30 minutes, but was only 5 minutes, they exited the small grass enough for Naruto to see what he was chasing. It was a small, brown fox-like creature with primarily brown fur. The tip of its bushy tail and its large furry collar were a cream color. It had short, slender legs with 3 toes and a pink pad on each foot. It had big brown eyes, long pointed ears, and a small black nose. Naruto looked very confused, having never seen a strange-looking fox before in his short miserable life. "It actually looks kinda cute," Naruto said mentally. "You're really fast, you know that." He wasn't kidding, it took everything he had just to keep the little guy, or girl, in his sights. Let alone catch it. The fox's response to his question was to tilt its head to the side, as if not understanding his words at all. "Eevee," was the response it gave to Naruto. "Is that your name, Eevee?" Naruto asked, only for it to shout Eevee one more time and run off at incredible speeds. Hey, wait. But Naruto's shout fell on deaf ears due to the fox being out of sight already. "Great." Naruto sighed. "Now who can help explain to me what's going on?" "RRRRGGHH," was the response that Naruto got to his question. The roar caused Naruto to jump 5 feet in the air out of fright. He looked up to see who the culprit was, and regretted that decision immediately. It was a large, almost as big as the Kyuubi, creature with a serpent-like body, with 6 black ghostly streamers protruding from its back that also had red-tipped spikes at the ends. Instead of having 4 legs, the creature had 6 spikes on each side and 4 more additional spikes near the edge of its tail. It also possessed 3 gold half-rings that could probably grasp onto things tightly. It also had a golden arch on its forehead and a golden mask on its mouth. Its cold red eyes gazed fiercely at Naruto, who began to shake in fear. Who could blame him though? Here he was, a young boy who only just started his training and only knows tree walking and his elements. Now here's a creature, bigger than anything he has seen before. Not only that, but said creature just seemed to ooze power that made Naruto feel dizzy. Naruto, in his fear, took an unconscious step back from the very intimidating creature before him. There is no way I'm just going to stand here and get eaten by this thing. Naruto yelled mentally as he tensed his muscles to run off to the surrounding fog. I could use the fog to cover my escape. Noticing his tensing muscles, the creature looked into Naruto's fearful eyes. You know, running would be pointless, young one, came a powerful voice that seemed to invade Naruto's mind. Naruto jumped up slightly from the surprise of the voice. He landed hard on his butt that caused Naruto to wince in pain. Ow, he said as he rubbed his butt. The creature seemed to chuckle at what happened. It found amusement in Naruto's fear. Yeah, very funny, Naruto mumbled before he paused in shock. Wait, was that you? He pointed at the creature that nodded its head. Yes, child. My name is Giratina, master of the reverse world and second in command of the Pokemon contract, the creature, now called Giratina, responded. Naruto tilted his head to the side in confusion. Pokemon. Reverse world. Seeing the confusion on Naruto's face, Giratina sighed at the lack of knowledge Naruto had, not that he could blame him. Giratina went into an explanation on Pokemon. Pokemon are summons of immense and diverse power. We each have our own typings such as water, fire, lightning, but he was interrupted by an excited Naruto. Kind of like the elements for jutsus. Yes, like what you use for your jutsu. We also have other elements though, such as flying, ground, poison, and dark. You wouldn't know of us due to us not having a summoner for a very long time. I could go into a whole speech as in why, but we don't have that kind of time. Okay, but what is the reverse world? Naruto asked curiously. Strange how he feels more relaxed with this giant, powerful, and admittedly scary creature than he does with other people. This is the reverse world. It's a world that exists on the opposite side of reality. It's a world connected to reality and is a wonderful place, though confusing for some. This is where the Pokemon of the contract reside now, kinda like how the Toads have MT. Myoboku. Okay, but why am I here, Giratina, sir? Naruto asked cautiously, even though he honestly had no clue what he meant. There was no way him falling into this world was a simple coincidence. The kid is smart, he's guarded and ready to act if he has to. By the way, his muscles tensed at his question, Giratina thought. To be blunt, Naruto, we want you to be our summoner. Naruto opened his mouth to question more, but Giratina continued. Our boss summon, Arceus, who is also my elder sister, has been watching you. She would be here talking to you, but she had a meeting she could not miss. She chose you because of your will, determination, heart, and your want to protect others, along with who your ancestor was. So Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, will you be our new summoner? Yes, I would be honored to sign your contract, sir. Naruto said, trying to stop his tears of joy. Someone else actually believed in him. Then Naruto, Giratina began in a warm tone. Welcome to the world of Pokemon, and with that the fog began to clear and revealed to Naruto the most amazing sight he has ever seen. Flashback end. After that, Naruto was given 2 eggs to raise by Giratina. These 2 eggs held Naruto's starter Pokemon that he had to raise for a bit till they hatched. 2 months after raising them, the eggs finally hatched. The blue and black stripped one became Riolu, while the black egg with red dots became Zorua. Ever since meeting Giratina and the Pokemon, Naruto has been training non-stop. He even goes to the reverse world often to be with the other Pokemon, instead of staying in the village. He learned so many different fighting styles from the fighting type Pokemon, how to hunt and survive, and most importantly, how to battle like a Pokemon. You see, thanks to Giratina, Naruto is training to be an Aura Guardian. It turns out Aura is more of a gift for Naruto than Chakra was. They told him about the different Aura users and Aura Guardians there were, about how the Guardians kept the world in balance for all of Pokemon and humankind. Aura users had the capability to use any and all Pokemon attacks, but the Aura user had to train in the attack to raise its effectiveness. Also, the higher level of the attack, the more aura it burns, the more tired the user. Aura worked in a similar way to nature chakra. The user pulls in the aura of the element of the attack and mixes it with the aura of the user. The 2 auras then mix together and form the attack, with no use of hand signs. The more mastery of the attack, the faster it forms. The amount of aura each attack uses differ, the only real limit depends on the user's stamina. The more stamina, the more attacks that could be used. Right now Naruto could use basic attacks from each type, but using them too much will really tire him out. In Pokemon standards, he was about as strong as a level 15 Pokemon without the experience, so about as strong as a high genin in ninja standards. Speaking of ninja, he has not neglected his ninja training at all. He has learned the Academy Jutsu and could do them without hand signs. He also has 5C rank jutsus, 2D ranks water jutsus, and currently trying to learn an A rank fire jutsu, not much success. To anyone paying attention, Naruto is actually a genius to near prodigy levels, though book work is still not his thing. He practically soaks up information like a sponge, always training. Heck, it took his sisters 2 days to master tree walking while it only took him 30 minutes, and that's only because he had no one to teach him along with having high chunin reserves of chakra at the time. So Naruto, what's the plan now that you start the academy in a week? Riolu asked the young blonde. Yeah, that's a good question. Zorua responded. You won't have all the free time to enter the reverse world anymore. Well, I'm honestly not too sure, but I know I won't be hiding everything since that would leave me unwanted by the other Jonin instructors. This caused the two Pokemon to look at Naruto with a deadpan expression before saying simultaneously. Don't lie, the only real reason is because you want to show off. This caused Naruto to chuckle nervously and to rub the back of his head. Okay, you caught me. It doesn't hurt that I'll be beating the precious, golden twins, at everything too. Don't get Naruto wrong, he doesn't despise his sisters, but he doesn't like nor trust them either. The same could be said for everyone else in his family, he doesn't hate any of them. He's more numb to them than anything. As an Aura Guardian, it's best not to hate. Well, before that, we should go see what Lady Arceus wanted from us since we will be late in 10 minutes, Riolu said, already walking towards the exit with Zorua next to him. Yeah, we should Wait, what? Naruto responded dumbly before seeing the sun getting lower, signifying it to be late noon. Why didn't you say anything earlier? I don't want my first meeting with Lady Arceus to be bad. Naruto began to panic as he thought about Giratina. It's a well-known fact that Giratina did not tolerate tardiness of any kind. Adding to the fact that he would be meeting the main boss summon and someone even Giratina, who Naruto knows is very powerful, could not defeat. Because watching you scramble around like a combuskin with its head cut off is hilarious, Riolu said, chuckling as Zorua was holding his stomach as he laughed at Naruto. I hate you guys, Naruto responded as he narrowed his eyes at them. And we bathe ourselves squeaky clean with your hate, Riolu responded in kind, causing Zorua to laugh harder. Riolu began to follow suit as he too held his stomach from laughing so hard at the blonde, causing Naruto to glare harder at them. As hilarious as making fun of Naruto is, Zorua said, finally getting his laughter under control, though he could wipe the grin off his face. We really should get going. Yeah, you're right, let's go, Naruto responded, opening the window. Let's meet at our usual training ground. The two Pokemon nodded as they leapt out the window into the tree and made their way to the training ground. Naruto sighed as he put everything away and made his way down the attic stairs. After closing the attic, Naruto walked past the living room and looked to the backyard where his parents were still training his sisters. Naruto slipped out the house, no one knowing he was even home. After 10 minutes of running through the village, ignoring the usual glares, he arrived to the training ground where he saw Riolu and Zorua waiting for him. Naruto quickly flares his chakra, alerting them of his arrival, which both of them responded by dropping from the tree they were in and land next to the lake. Wordlessly, Naruto walked to the crystal clear water before putting his palm on the surface and flowing his aura through it. For a second, nothing happened. Suddenly the water collapsed in on itself and the portal to the reverse world opened. Naruto, along with the two Pokemon summons, quickly jumped into the portal and, like before, it closed without ever leaving a trace. Jumping down, a young man with black, raven-like hair appeared in the clearing. His coal-black eyes searched around before quickly turning red with 3 black tomos encircling the black pupil as he looked around. This eye change meant the activation of one of Konoha's 2 great dojutsus, the Sharingan, signifying this person as an Uchiha. This young man was Itachi Uchiha, the heir and prodigy of the Uchiha clan. "Where did Naruto go? I know I saw him here," Itachi said out loud. Maybe he went further ahead, and with that he took off towards the trees to look for his surrogate little brother. Naruto and his partners landed on the ground softly and took quick notice of their surroundings, saw all kinds of Pokemon running around. Before Naruto could say anything, a brown blur quickly tackled Naruto to the ground as it squealed in joy. "Eevee, Eevee, Eevee. Eevee, relax and use your words," Naruto said as he pet the brown fox. "Sorry Naruto-chan. I was just really glad to see you guys," Eevee said, signifying it as a girl. "We were just here yesterday," Riolu replied, amused by his friend's actions. "Yeah, but," Eevee said and began to explain how lonely she was even though she has friends everywhere. Zorua zoned out the young talking Eevee and looked around, searching for Giratina. He opened the gate for them, so where was he? As soon as that thought crossed his mind, a giant and familiarly shaped shadow loomed over them. Looking up, they saw the ruler of the reverse world himself. "Giratina, it took you long enough to arrive here, Naruto," Giratina said in a tone that obviously said, "Be careful how you respond." Deciding to be cautious so to not piss off a beast with enough power to wipe him off the face of existence, Naruto swallowed hard and responded. "I'm sorry for keeping you, Giratina. I was training to learn a new fire jutsu and lost track of time." He bowed to show respect to the mighty beast. Giratina stared Naruto down to see if he was lying before sighing. "At least you were being productive, now raise your head. Lady Arceus will be here in a moment." Naruto stood straight and Pokemon of all kinds, even the ever-excitable Eevee, stopped and looked up as they waited for the one that gave them life. They waited for 2 minutes in silence before a colorful portal opened in the air above the awaiting crowd. The portal released a stream of light that instantly made the slightly darkened sky light up in a burst of colors. Red, blue, green, yellow, the entire sky lit with a mesmerizing mix of colors that left Naruto wide-eyed and breathless. After a few moments staring at the beauty of the lights, a sudden pressure of power rushed at everyone. It was like being slammed by a steel staff right into the middle of your chest. It took a while before Naruto and everyone other than Giratina to be able to gain their bearings once again. The power was unlike anything they have felt before, it was both scary and divine. An orb of light burst through the colorful portal and flew through the sky with high speeds. After a few seconds, the orb grew larger and began to take shape. Soon the light faded and a creature as big as Giratina took its place. The creature was a white equine resembling a Qilin or centaur with a gray, vertically striated underside. The striated pattern has similar recurrences on the underside of its mane, tail, and face. It had 4 pointed feet which possessed golden tips. The long mane juts away from its head and its face is gray, with green eyes and red pupils, and a green circular pattern below its eyes. It also has a streak of gold coloration on its head, and ears that point upwards. Its neck is fairly long, with 2 pairs of extrusions to the sides, and a flap-like feature on the neck's underside that is colored white like much of its body. It also had a golden cos-like wheel attached to its body by its round abdomen. The wheel also has 4 jewels attached to each of its corners. This being was Arceus, the Alpha Pokemon. The boss of the Pokemon summoning contract. The Kami of Pokemon and the only creature that could fight Kami herself on even grounds. Instantly, all the Pokemon around Naruto bowed down to show respect to the descending Alpha Pokemon. Naruto was so mesmerized by the mighty legend, that he could not move from his spot. Arceus giggled at the surprised look on Naruto's face. You know, Naruto-kun, you might want to shut your mouth eventually lest you catch Zubats, Arceus said in a soothing tone. Naruto instantly shut his mouth and smiled at the giant Pokemon. It's an honor and pleasure to meet you, Lady Arceus. Naruto quickly bowed. Just call me Arceus, Naruto-kun, she said, amused, knowing of his hatred for formalities. Like you, I'm not one for formalities if I can avoid them. Naruto smiled at Arceus' choice of words. He knew right then and there that he was going to enjoy working with her. Of course, Arceus. Arceus smiled warmly at Naruto. She could get used to this. Better than being around Giratina all the time with his annoying rules and regulations. It's so annoying having to listen to his long list of annoying rules all the time. Not to sound rude, Arceus, but why was it that you called for a meeting with me today? Naruto asked curiously. Yes, let's get to business. Naruto-kun, I need to have you tested in battle, to see if you are ready for the higher levels. Some of the other legendaries, who have been watching you train, wish to train you themselves so you can get stronger and show the world our strength. Okay, but who will I be fighting? Naruto asked, confused, yet excited. Naruto not only had the legendaries wanting to teach him, but he gets to prove himself to them. I need you to eliminate a bandit camp for me. They recently attacked a village and are now hiding out in Fire Country. I want them dead. They have raped, murdered, and pillaged. The village, with its few members left, is thinking of sending help out to Konoha, but that's where you come in. I understand, Arceus, Naruto responded with a serious look on his face. His eyes went from a childish light, to a dim one that could be seen in the eyes of a hardened warrior. This test is meant for you alone, so I'm afraid Riolu and Zorua shall remain here. Am I correct to assume that you are well equipped already? Naruto nodded to the Pokemon God's question. Good, then your mission starts now. I'll teleport you there now. Arceus's green eyes suddenly glowed white as a white aura surrounded Naruto's body before he vanished in a flash of light. Turning to Giratina, Arceus smiled, yet retained her serious attitude. So little brother, how do you think Naruto-kun will do? All of the Pokemon instantly turned to look at Giratina, especially Riolu and Zorua, for an answer. Honestly, I'm not worried at all. Young or not, Naruto is quite well trained and ready for those bandits, Giratina said, smiling back at his sister before looking up and frowned. Though there is one major problem. Arceus looked worried at his words. What's the problem? She asked him. Giratina's head snapped at her as a very annoyed look came upon his face. You left your damn portal open again. I'm sorry. Arceus yelled out in response as she ran off, chased by Giratina, who was going to punish her for forgetting to close her portal in his dimension, again. Forest, 30 miles away from Konoha. Naruto, in a flash of white, appeared in the forest. After landing on the ground, Naruto leant on a tree for support as he felt dizzy. Man, it's going to be a while before I get used to that, Naruto said, groaning. Shaking his head to knock out the cobwebs, Naruto stood up and looked around. I'm hunting a camp, so that means a group of people. So let's get to work. Naruto's eyes suddenly glowed blue, a sky blue color, and watched as the world around him became different. Instead of the colors of the world, all he saw was the outline of objects and a blue energy flowing through said objects. The blue energy was the life energy, or aura, of the objects. After sensing for a few more moments, Naruto felt a large group of people in single area. Got them, he said before taking off into the trees. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze was ready for battle. Namikaze compound. Everyone has just finished training for the day. Kushina was making ramen, while trying to make one of the hardest decisions of her life. Miso or pork. Minato Namikaze had to leave, back to his office, due to a meeting being called. Apparently the civilian council wants funding for more civilian stores to be built. Mito was taking a shower to wash off a hard day's work of sweat and mud. Nami on the other hand was bored, already having taken a shower. Suddenly she remembered something very important. She had a brother. Due to all the training she had been going through recently, she had forgot all about him. He would play with her. With that thought in mind, she got up from the couch and went towards the stairs to her older brother's room. "Where are you going, Nami-chan?" Kushina asked her daughter, seeing her going towards the stairs. "Oh, I'm just going to see if Naruto wants to play with me," she replied as she ran up the steps to play with her brother. The mere thought of him playing with her made her smile, since they haven't gotten time to actually be siblings due to all the training. Kushina on the other hand looked confused for a second. Naruto, she thought before her eyes widened in realization, shock, horror, and finally guilt. Oh my god, Naruto. I forgot my own Sochi-kun. How could I forget about my only son? What kind of mother am I? She continued this mental thought for a while. Naruto, her sweet baby boy, never crossed her mind. The one to give light to her world, was completely forgotten. She looked at the setup on the table and felt even more guilt. 4 bowls, 5 chairs. The chair that they used for guests, but not their own son. Kushina couldn't feel any lower than she does right now. If anyone asked her something about Naruto, she wouldn't be able to answer the question because she didn't know anything. She could name off all of Mito's and Nami's likes, dislikes, future plans, favorite colors and foods, but when she thought of Naruto's, she drew a blank due to having no answers. No matter how hard she thought or how much she prayed to find an answer to anything regarding Naruto personally, she got nothing. She couldn't even think if he liked ramen or not. She began to cry and sob. How could I forget my son? I have to talk to Minato. We have to make things right again. Ka-san, Mito-chan. Came a slightly panicked cry from upstairs. Kushina instantly knew it was Nami, so she dropped what she was doing and ran upstairs in a matter of seconds. She found both her daughters looking into a room with worry effect on their faces. Kushina walked over to the room with worry and feeling herself getting more anxious with each step. What's wrong, honey? Kushina asked in as calm a tone as she possibly could. Naruto's gone. I can't find him anywhere. Nami yelled out, causing Kushina's worry to increase. Kushina looked into her son's room, only for her guilt and worry to grow even more. Naruto's room was extremely bare, to be blunt. There was nothing there to indicate that a young boy lived there. The bed was small and neatly made. Not a crease could be found on it anywhere. There was a hamper by the door, but no dirty clothes were there. There was no posters on the walls, no papers anywhere. The room itself was a dull blue that could be mistaken for gray. The desk had a small book on it, but it looked like it hadn't been opened in years, if the collected dust on it was anything to go by. Kushina walked over to the book and read the title, Survival Tactics, Surviving Alone in the Wild. The title was enough to scare her. Picking up the book, a piece of paper fell out as it floated gently to the ground. Picking up the paper, Kushina saw it was a picture. Looking at it, Kushina nearly burst into tears at what was in the picture. It was a picture of the family, all with happy smiles on their faces. Kushina wore her usual outfit, the green dress with a brown apron over it and her hair brushed down. In front of her was Mito in a white dress and her usual ponytail. To her left was Minato in his Hokage outfit and Nami, who was wearing a blue dress, on his shoulders. What made her cry was that Naruto was nowhere in the picture. This picture was a year old and even said Namikaze family on the top, but Naruto was nowhere to be found. Kushina couldn't take it anymore. She let out a cry and sob as she realized just how bad a mother she was. She channeled chakra into her ring, activating the seal inside it. She needed to speak to Minato now. Near the bandit camp, Naruto stood on a tree branch, overlooking the bandit camp. It was a relatively normal campsite with around 15 tents and 2 fire pits that looked to have been used for the previous night. What made Naruto livid was what was at the edge of the camp. It was 3 medium-sized cages with iron bars. Each cage contained 5 girls whose ages ranged from 1 6-year-old in the middle cage and the rest being about 11 to 16. They all wore rags that barely hid their modesty from the world. Naruto decided it would be safest to wait until the sun set a little more, giving him more cover. I can't be too careful in a possible hostage situation, Naruto said mentally. I'll wait for about 2 hours, then I'll get them out of there and make those vile men pay. 2 hours have passed and the sun had set enough to where it was tougher to see the surrounding area. The sky had become darker thanks to rising moon, though the sun was still in the sky slightly. The bandits have become drunk in this time frame and on occasion, harassed their prisoner. Thankfully they did not lay their hands on them yet. Apparently they planned to sell the girls to a guy named Gato as slaves. Naruto vowed to find this man and kill him. Jumping down from his perch and landing silently, Naruto hid behind a bush and made his way to the captured girls. Pissed, behind you, Naruto whispered, gaining the attention of the girls who looked in his direction. Naruto put his finger to his lips to keep them quiet. I'm here to get you all out of here. What I have planned for your captors is not pretty, so keep the youngest from seeing. They nodded, though skeptical since Naruto was still a kid himself, but what did they have to lose, and blindfolded the 6-year-old girl, who Naruto heard was named Cynthia. Walking away from the cages, Naruto concentrated his aura to his hand before releasing his first attack. Vine Whip, Naruto whispered. His palm glowed green for a second before green vines shot out from them and wrapped around one of the nearby thugs and tugged him towards the bushes. Pulling out a kunai, Naruto stabbed it through the back of the thug's neck, killing him instantly. Feeling his stomach churn at the sight of the man he killed, Naruto had to swallow down the urge to vomit. He just killed someone, even if he deserved it. He killed a living person. He's become a monster. His hands began to shake as he began to dry heave, the urge to vomit becoming too much to handle. He looked at his shaking hands and the sight of the bloody mess on the ground. He was a monster, a killer, a murderer. Turning his head, he saw the sight of the imprisoned girls and saw that their once broken eyes were now filled with a glimmer of hope. They found hope in the fact that he said he will free them. Taking a deep breath, Naruto remembered why he was doing this. He was doing this to save those girls, he was doing this to give them a chance, he was doing this to eliminate the trash that littered the beautiful world. Naruto's eyes snapped back to his usual determined look, with a new fire lit in his eyes. Taking a deep breath and focusing his aura once more, he shot his hands forward as he called out his next attack. Whirlwind. This time his glowing palms released a powerful burst of wind that not only blew the bandits away but the tents and fire pits too. The bandits screamed out in surprise and confusion as some slammed into trees or simply tumbled forward. 2 bandits died as their spines snapped as it slammed into a tree directly. What the hell was that? One of the thugs yelled out before a kunai was embedded into his forehead, killing him. Seeing the kunai, one of the thugs got nervous. Oh shit, it's a ninja. He knew they were in trouble since none of them were trained well enough to fight a ninja. I'm out of here. He got up to run, only for his jugular to be cut open by another kunai slicing through its flesh, and the last thing he saw was cold blue eyes before his vision went dark. Hearing the body hit the floor, the remaining thugs turned to it, only to see Naruto standing there while slightly coated in the blood of his recent victim. What the fuck? It's just some damn kid. Another thug yelled out angrily. Naruto only looked at the thug coldly before tightening the grip on his kunai before whispering. ... Quote. Quick attack, and Naruto moved in a blur too fast for any of them to see. The thug that yelled angrily found himself no longer able to breathe, looking down with eyes to find Naruto had stabbed his kunai through his heart. The thug fell back dead. Naruto looked around to find that he only had about 9 of the thugs left, so who's next? Kill that brat, a very muscular thug yelled. This caused each one to charge at Naruto, thinking he would be easy since he was a kid. That was a big mistake. One of the thugs came upon Naruto and launched his fist towards Naruto's face, but Naruto ducked out of the way and tripped him easily. Sensing someone behind him, Naruto rolled forward as another thug tried to grab him. Naruto had no time to rest though, as another thug swung his feet towards Naruto's face, who jumped and slammed his on the thug's legs before jumping off and released another vine whip. The vines quickly wrapped around the thug easily before Naruto flung him into 3 other thugs. You should have been more careful. Release. Naruto released a pulse of chakra. Hearing a hissing sound, the thug looked at his leg and saw an exploding tag on the left leg that Naruto slammed his hands onto earlier. The 4 thugs' eyes widened before the tag exploded, killing all 4 of them. Naruto leaned back, not having time to admire his handiwork, dodging a log that one of the thugs picked up for a weapon. This is too easy, Naruto smirked. Charging towards the thug, who brought the log up to block Naruto, the blonde smirked before yelling out. Not going to work, rock smash. Naruto's fist quickly glowed a brown-white before easily smashing through the log and hitting the thug in the face, whose neck snapped upon impact. The thugs took a step back in fear as Naruto's eyes glowed blue with aura once more. Just what the hell is this kid? Were the last thoughts of the thugs before a cold wind blew and froze them all solid. Icy wind, Naruto whispered as his breathing became a bit shaggy. Naruto may have a lot of stamina, but he wasn't used to doing so many attacks one after the other like that yet. Add to the fact that Icy Wind was used on multiple targets instead of just one, and he added more power to the attack to be sure that it would freeze them all, made him really tired. Naruto activated his Rock Smash attack once more and crushed the remaining frozen thugs. Now to save those girls, Naruto said before running to the camp's direction again. Namikaze compound. Minato Namikaze has just flashed into his home next to his distraught wife, worry etched into his face. He had been walking his way home, enjoying the peace after having to deal with the annoying council meeting, when he felt a sudden pull from one of Hiraishin's seals. This worried him since the pull trail, a trail that he can follow when of his seals is activated, led to the compound. Not wasting a second, he flashed to his house and saw his wife on the ground and crying along with his 2 daughters. Kushina-chan, what's wrong? Minato asked, holding his wife in his arms. Talk to me, what happened? Kushina looked into Minato's eyes as her tears continued to fall. Minato, I'm such a horrible mother. With each sobbing word, her tears flowed at a faster rate, until her cheeks were covered in tears. Her eyes were red from all her crying and her nose was beginning to look puffy. Minato's heart broke upon seeing his wife in such a state, but at the same time he was confused by her words. A horrible mother. What happened to make her think such a thing? He looked to his daughters, who were also crying while holding on to each other for comfort. Kushina-chan, you know that isn't true. Ever since their birth, you've done an amazing job raising Nami and Mito. I mean, look at them, so young and yet already they are both talented and beautiful. All our family outings and special occasions that you catch on camera and never miss a single one. I doubt I could raise our 2 wonderful children into the amazing girls that they are becoming if I was alone, while also being Hokage. You are a wonderful mother, Kushina. Kushina's eyes widened as her mind raced at Minato's words, and not in joy like he may think. Our daughters, 2 children, special occasions. Each time it was only Mito and Nami, but what about her son? I have never missed our daughter's special moments growing up, but what about our son's special moments? Oh Minato, what have we done? Kushina opened her mouth to voice these questions, yet no words came out, only more yelling of sadness and regret. Minato was caught off guard by Kushina's yell of anguish. What did I say? Minato was thoroughly confused now. He figured his words would help make things better, not worse. Even his daughters seemed to be crying louder now too. I really don't understand, woman. Kushina-chan, please, tell me what is going on so I can help you. Minato. Kun. It's Naruto. Kushina managed to finally yell out through her sobbing, which by the way left a huge wet spot on Minato's vest. Naruto. Minato thought before his eyes widened in realization and worry. The young Kage finally took notice of where he was and realized that this was not his daughter's, or the guest room, this was his son's. This desolate, plain room belonged to his only son. Kushina, tell me, what happened to Naruto? Minato slowly began having a sinking feeling in his heart. Fighting back another sob, Kushina explained what she noticed. From forgetting to feed Naruto, to forgetting that he was even their son. Hearing each word spoken, Minato felt his regret, shame, and guilt rise. He was a Hokage, and one of the best that Konoha has had, and yet he completely forgot about his own son. He never meant to forget Naruto, he just wanted the best for everyone. He had to do something. Kushina-chan, Mito-chan, Nami-chan, Minato began, getting the attention of the crying Uzumaki girls. Where is Naruto-kun right now? He had to make things right again. The one who answered was Nami, who shakily stood up from crying along with Mito. We don't know. I came here to play with Oni-chan, but I couldn't find him or anything that said he was even there in the first place. Fresh tears began to flow from her eyes. She was worried that her older brother ran away. Unknowing that her sister had the same worry etched into her heart as well. What if their elder sibling ran off because of them? Minato, deciding that they needed to talk to Naruto as soon as possible, made a quick hand sign as he focused. He searched for the Hiraishin seal that is placed on all of his children's clothing, that way if they were in trouble he could flash to them or call them to him. Finding the seal he was searching for, which was worryingly out of the village, but thankfully still within his range, and made hand signs as he gathered his chakra. Flying Thunder God. Stage 3. Summoning. He threw a tri-pronged kunai onto the ground and watched as it glowed, and in a flash of yellow, Naruto appeared, causing the family to gasp in worry at his appearance. His hair was messy and his eyes widened in shock. He was sweaty and his clothing was ruffled and ripped in different places, also signs of cuts from a blade could be identified easily, but what made them gasp was the blood. The blood that slightly dripped from his body was fresh. He had cuts and bruises throughout his body, though they were healing at a slow rate. He gripped a kunai in his left hand that had fresh blood drip from it. Minato was shocked. Kushina had more tears fall from her eyes, which also held motherly fury at the sight of her hurt child. Nami and Mito were both scared at the sight of their brother being hurt, and determination in their eyes to make the culprit pay for doing so. Looking around, Naruto was confused. One moment he's fighting for his life against a dangerous opponent and the next he appears in a random location. What the hell is going on? Naruto voiced his confusion as he turned to face his family. What the hell am I doing here? The forest before Minato summoned Naruto. That was one hell of a rush. Naruto reminisced as he jumped from tree to tree. He landed at the destroyed bandit camp and saw the cages holding the imprisoned girls. He walked up to the cages and spoke to calm them down. Okay girls, I'm going to get you out of there. I already took care of the other thugs, you're free now. He watched with a small smile on his face as he saw most of them cry tears of joy at finally being free again and being able to see their families again. The others were looking at Naruto suspiciously, still not fully trusting him. You girls might want to stand back from the bars. Deciding not to question him, they did as he told them. Naruto gave a quick shout of leaf blade and his hands were covered in green energy that took shape of small blades. Walking up, he swung his hands and the blades of green energy easily cut through the bars. The bars lazily fell out of place, leaving a gaping hole for the imprisoned girls to get out. All the girls ran out, some hugged and screamed out thank you over and over while others thanked him from a distance. Naruto told them they were very welcome and he was glad to help, though his cheeks gained a rosy blush at the contact of all the girls who barely had anything covering them. Naruto opened his mouth to speak, before his eyes widened as his danger sense went haywire. Get down. Naruto yelled while grabbing as many of the girls as he could and dragging them to the ground. The other girls quickly followed suit as a twin side-bladed axe flew over their heads and embedded itself into a tree. The girls screamed out in fear, while Naruto looked around, forgetting his aura sense in his worry. Well, a male voice seemed to echo throughout the clearing. By how gruff the voice sounded, Naruto put the man in his mid-30s. Also judging by how big the axe was, this guy's was physically strong. It seems a hero has come to steal my collection, even going so far as to kill my guard dogs. Maybe if you kept your dogs on a leash, I wouldn't have needed to put them down. Naruto taunted in return, as he calmed his nerves. Quickly activating his aura sight, opting to hit himself later for forgetting it. Naruto looked around and saw everyone's blue aura flowing, except for one that made Naruto pause in shock. That little girl, Cynthia, had purple mixed into her aura. This is the first time Naruto has ever seen something like this and he had no clue what that could have meant. I don't have time to worry about that right now though. I have to find. Got him. Naruto saw a massive aura signature moving towards one of the girls from behind the bushes. Vine whip. Naruto called out as the green vines shot out towards the hidden man and wrapped around him. Now get out here. And with a shout, Naruto tugged the man from his hiding place and into the air before slamming him into the ground within the clearing. The girls looked at Naruto in awe. This young boy, no older than 9, just lifted a full-grown man. It was incredible. Cynthia was the only one not awed into silence, evident by her loud cheering of how cool Naruto was right now. Naruto never took his eyes off the man as his vines returned to him, seeing the man's aura still flowed. The man slowly got up, without so much as a wince of pain. In fact, he chuckled in amusement. A wood release user. Aren't you just full of surprises, kid? Any village would pay handsomely for you. The man grinned in amusement. When he stood full height, Naruto got a better look at him. The man was the definition of big, standing at 6 feet 9. He had big muscles, but they were also lean, showing they were used for speed as well as strength. He had spiky white hair, that was black in the center. He had brown eyes, full of dark humor. He wore a torn-up, tight red shirt and black puffy pants. He also wore blue shinobi-style sandals. He had 2 axes, like the one he threw earlier, tied to his waist by a yellow training belt. He gave Naruto a hard look and released some of his killing intent. Naruto sweated slightly at the feeling he got from the man. This guy wasn't your ordinary run-of-the-mill bandit. Knowing this won't be easy, Naruto whispered to the girls, "Listen, when I say go I want you all to run north. This won't be a normal fight like with those other bandits, this guy is on a whole other level of strength. I can't fight and protect you at the same time. So get ready because I will make a clone that will run away with you all while I hold him off." The girls nodded, knowing they would only get in the way of their hero. Looking up, Naruto cursed at how dark it was starting to get. Enough delaying. The man yelled. It's time for you to go down by Daisuke Ichimura. He charged forward, ready to rush Naruto. Naruto quickly slammed his green glowing on the ground and yelled out, "Grass not." A second later, Daisuke tripped, leaving a decent indent in the ground. Shadow Clone Jutsu. And in a poof, a clone of Naruto appeared. The clone yelled out "Let's go" as he quickly herded the girls and told them to follow him. When they were out of sight, he turned his attention back to Daisuke, who got up and glared at Naruto. "Cheap trick, kid. Now I'm going to cut you up." Daisuke charged forward while taking out both of his axes. He appeared in front of Naruto and swung his axe downward. Naruto, surprised by the huge man's burst of speed, jumped back to dodge the swing, which was a good thing since the axe cracked the ground. "Vine whip," Naruto yelled out as the vines rushed towards Daisuke. The blonde was hoping to take the axe away from Daisuke, making it easier to take him down. Acting quickly, Daisuke let go of his axe and reached out, grabbing hold of the rushing vines. The surprised Naruto had no time to react as he was pulled towards Daisuke, who was in the process of swinging his other axe in an attempt to cleave Naruto in half. Oh crap! Naruto's eyes widened before his cheeks bulged. I'm not going to die here. Smokescreen. Breathing out, a thick screen of black smoke covered not only Naruto, but Daisuke as well. The smoke caused the grown man to cough and hesitate in his movements, giving Naruto time to recover and respond. A loud cut was heard through the smoke, followed by a sudden rush of pain to erupt from Daisuke's shoulder, along with a gush of blood. Naruto jumped out of the smoke with his right hand flattened, glowing a bright and white color with a few drops of blood on his face. Not letting up his attacks, Naruto's hands glowed green once more before he was surrounded by tree leaves. Now try this. Razor leaf. The leaves hardened until they were as hard and sharp as blades and rushed into the smoke. Not a sound was heard, not even a grunt or snort was heard. Naruto was about to turn on his aura sight before his eyes widened at what he heard next. Fire style. Dragon's breath, and a stream of fire shot from the thick smoke, not only dispersing the smoke, but also revealing Daisuke shooting the flames from his mouth, and rushing towards Naruto. Water gun. Naruto shouted before his aura turned ocean blue before releasing a jet of water from his perked lips. The water surged towards the incoming spray of flames. The two attacks made contact, only for a small amount of steam to be released into the cold night. The steam did not last long though, as it quickly evaporated, so Naruto was only blinded for a few moments. But that was all the time that was needed. As soon as the steam vanished, an axe was sent sailing towards Naruto, who moved to the right to evade the huge weapon. Using Naruto's distraction, a slightly bleeding Daisuke appeared beside Naruto and buried his huge fist into Naruto's gut, causing him to spit, before grabbing the young boy's shirt and slamming him into the ground. Daisuke raised his foot to stomp the young Aura Guardian into the ground, but missed as Naruto quickly rolled away and jumped back to his feet. The two stared at each other, glaring into the other's eyes. Naruto was in deep thought over recent information. This is just great. This guy's knows ninjutsu, which means he is most likely a missing nin or a ronin. Dragon's breath is AC rank fire just used, so it's safe to assume he is at least a chunin. He also has really tough skin, there's barely a scratch on him after all that. I'm sorry for failing this test, Arceus-sama, but I'm going to need help if I'm going to survive this fight. Daisuke's glaring eyes turned to surprise as Naruto began a set of hand signs that he quickly recognized as the signs for a summoning. Decided not to chance it, he charged forward to stop whatever Naruto was going to call upon. Finishing the last sign, Naruto yelled out, "Summoning," before he suddenly vanished in a flash of yellow. Daisuke stopped in his tracks as he stared silently at the spot that Naruto was standing moments ago, confused by Naruto's vanishing act. Where did he go? He was just there a moment ago, and how did he do that? Was that the Hiraishin? If it was, then how did he know the fourth Hokage's signature jutsu? He smirked a deathly smile. This kid was far more interesting than he first thought. Naruto, current time. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out for that man. No man should be able to take so many hits and get up without barely a bruise, especially from those attacks. Looking intently at his parents, he couldn't help but wonder what they want. Kushina, being the first to snap from her shock at his injuries, quickly knelt by her bleeding son with worry filling her very being. Naru-chan, what happened to you? She saw the cuts and bruises and knew those weren't play injuries. Those were injuries caused by a person. Someone had dared to harm her baby boy. She was already thinking of many different ways to torture whoever it was that harmed her. Naru-chan, whether it be male or female, civilian or ninja. Naruto just looked at Kushina before turning his head towards Minato, even more confused by his mother's actions. Was this an imposter? But that thought flew out the window, since only his father can use the Hiraishin. He was taken from his thoughts when he heard his father's voice. Naruto, talk to us. We are your parents and we want to help you. Tell us what happened to you. Minato began, but slowly his worried tone turned to shock as Naruto seemed to glare at him harder with each word he said. Naruto was pissed. No, he was furious. How dare they? How dare they? Now they want to start acting like parents to him, after all this time. Right after a fight for his life, after he has had his first kills. Naruto, in his blind rage, began to call upon the power of the Kyuubi's soul, not that he knew. His eyes turned a deep crimson with black slits in each eye. His spiky hair grew spikier and more wild as they jetted in different directions. The bangs that usually framed his face moved to the side and showed his darkened whiskers in full view. His teeth turned to fangs as they sharpened and grew slightly in length. Even his nails grew and sharpened, looking like they could draw blood easily from any victim in their way. Naruto responded to his father, in a very dark tone. You listen here, I don't need to tell you anything. You can't just leave me behind and all of a sudden decide that you want me back. It doesn't work like that, Minato-san. I have lived my life without your encouragement or your guidance for this long, so why would I want it now? You want to help me, then you can help me, by leaving me alone. That shouldn't be too hard for you to do, since you have done it most of my life already. Naruto finished off, as he slowly lost his feral appearance and ran past his shocked parents. He was just about to pass his sisters, but was stopped by Mito, who jumped onto him while crying out. Ni-san, please listen. Please, we are sorry. But her pleas fell on unwilling ears as Naruto pried his sister's arms from around his waist. Ni-san. Naruto glared at his sisters, causing both girls to flinch at his gaze, even though his glare wasn't nearly as intense as it was towards their parents. Honestly, Naruto had no idea how he should feel towards his sisters anymore. They didn't ignore him nearly as much as his parents did and were there for him occasionally, but at the same time they didn't go out of their way to end his loneliness either. Also he, even if it's childish, couldn't help but blame them for the neglect as well, even if only slightly. Mito, I would appreciate it if you don't touch me again. The same goes for you too, Nami. I don't hate you too since you actually tried to show me some love, but know that feeling can change really quick. It would be best for you to not push me right now. To emphasize his point, Naruto released a small amount of his aura, using his anger, that left the sobbing Mito and Nami in shock and slight fear. Aura has another thing that makes it more unique than most other energies. The feeling it gives off to others can change depending on the user's mood and even amplify that feeling. Anger can give the aura a very grave and deadly feeling, joy can make it feel warm, etc. The twins have never felt such anger from anything in their life before, granted they barely ever feel anger from others. They felt like ants drowning in a very dark sea. Minato and Kushina were both shocked and awed by their wayward son. They never felt such a power from anyone, not even the Kyuubi. It wasn't that the power was stronger or more vast or even as dense as it either. No, it was the feeling of it that surprised them. They knew instantly that the energy wasn't chakra due to it not giving off the same life signal, even though it was eerily similar to it. It wasn't Yukai, so they knew it wasn't Kyuubi either. They could not figure out what it was. But Naru-ni, we love you, Nami said, finding the courage to speak. We don't want, though whatever she was going to say died in her throat as Naruto just turned and began to walk away, ignoring her words. Naruto, please son, Minato called out to his child. Just listen to us, we are a family. We made a mistake, but he did not get to finish as Naruto interrupted him. Shut it, he yelled as his aura flexed outward with enough force to make the others take a step back. I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear your stupid reasons. In the end, I was left alone by you. You made a mistake and so did I. My mistake was thinking you loved me like parents should, so no more. I grew away from you and I don't need you. I have my friends and to me, they are my family. Not you. Now leave me alone. After one final shout, Naruto ran off, leaving his distraught family to wallow in their self-pity and sorrow. The leftover Namakazes looked to each other as they cried at Naruto's words. Their brother wanted nothing to do with them, his own family. They knew Naruto would most likely be angry, but to practically hate them was something they could never have prepared their hearts for. Mito, Nami, and Kushina felt like someone plunged their bare hands into their chest and crushed their hearts. They cried to such an extent that sound refused to leave their throats as the tears stained the floor. Minato kneeled down to the important woman in his life, unsure of what to say. He couldn't think of anything to say to rid them of their sorrow. His mind drifted to his son and the anger he displayed to them. Where did things go so wrong? Back with Naruto. Naruto just entered his room, slamming the door behind him as he looked around. He soaked in the plain and bland room since he barely spent any of his time in it. He took a deep breath and held it for a few seconds before releasing it in a heavy sigh. When he finally calmed down, Naruto decided it would be best if he did not dwell on his family right now. Naruto made his way to the window in his room and opened it, feeling a chill run down his spine due to the cool breeze of the night air. Warming his body by coating it in his aura, Naruto jumped out the window. He landed softly on the ground and took off towards his training ground as fast as he could. As he neared the training ground, his shadow clone popped and he gained its memories, causing a warm smile to stretch across his face. The clone succeeded getting the girls to their village safely and back into the arms of their worried families. The clone popped before they could turn and thank him for his help. The scene had actually caused him to tear a little, happy to be able to bring people back together. He was able to save those girls from a horrible fate, he made them feel safe. Though his mood dropped at the memory of his fight against Daisuke and how the man could have easily killed him. He felt like he failed Arceus since his mission was to kill all the bandits, yet one not only survived, but actually could have beaten him, Naruto. Arriving at the lake in his training ground, Naruto stared at the lake and its enchanting beauty. The light from the moon reflected off the water's smooth surface, making it look like the lake was actually glowing with mysterious power. Looking into the water, Naruto stared at his reflection for a few moments, taking in the injuries he sustained, and took a deep breath. Might as well get this over with, Naruto said mentally. Putting his right hand on the surface of the calm lake, he flowed his aura to call upon Giratina. Instantly, the portal to the reverse world opened and sucked all into its endless void. Nodding, Naruto leapt into the portal once more. As quickly as the portal came, it vanished. Instead of falling like before, Naruto walked out of a glass window from one of the nearby buildings. The portal behind Naruto quickly closed shut. Looking around, the usual fog of the reverse world was not present at the moment. Feeling the ground rumble, Naruto looked forward and saw the cause was a whole crowd of different Pokemon rushing towards him. Flying high above the rest were Giratina and Arceus. Naruto smiled at the forms of all the summons he knew personally, his best friends and family. After a few more seconds, everyone was in front of him as the deities continued to float overhead. Welcome back, Naruto-kun, Arceus said with a warm smile on her face. It's good to be back, Arceus, Naruto responded with of his own, before it was replaced with a frown. Enough pleasantries, Arceus, Giratina interrupted. Looking down to Naruto, who shrunk slightly under his gaze, spoke out his thoughts. How did the mission go, Naruto? Naruto swallowed the lump that collected in his throat and stood tall, though the nervousness he felt was clear for all to see. The mission to eliminate all the bandits in the camp had changed to a rescue mission. Giratina and Arceus looked to each other as if having a silent conversation with each other at the sudden news. They turned their heads back to Naruto and nodded for him to continue. Naruto followed their silent request and resumed the briefing. He told them of the rescue of the girls, and his killing of the thugs. When the Pokemon heard of his reaction to killing the thugs, they felt sadness and pride in him. Sadness that he had to not only go through his first kill alone, but had to go on to kill even more at the same time. They felt pride in for him though, as he not only pushed through it on his own, but did it to save others in the process. Naruto also told them details of his fight against the bandit leader, Daisuke. How he outclassed Naruto completely, and even took his attacks head-on. How in the end, Naruto could not face the bandit on his own like he was ordered to. Arceus schooled her face into a calm, cold look once the briefing was finished. Arceus looked to Giratina from the corner of her left eye and spoke out in a commanding tone. Giratina, would you and the others be so kind as to leave so I may speak to Naruto-kun, alone? Giratina nodded to his sister's request and flew off, while all the gathered Pokemon left, but not before sending Naruto a worried glance. Riolu, Zorua, and Eevee were upset that they didn't even get to greet their favorite blonde. Naruto could feel nothing but shame as everyone left. His first mission ever and he fails to follow parameters of the mission, even going so far as to lose to the last guy. He was so caught up in his self-loathing, he refused to look Arceus in the eye, opting to looking at the ground. After all my training and all the effort everyone put into helping me, I still lose. I still failed. Naruto clenched his fists tightly to avoid the tears that were threatening to spill from his eyes. Arceus looked down at the young Pokemon summoner with sympathy in her eyes. Suddenly her green eyes glowed a purple color, completely covering the green, and now pupil-less eyes. An aura of blue-purple energy outlined Naruto's body, getting him to look up in surprise. Naruto was slowly lifted off the ground by the strange energy and was floating in the air. Moving at a quicker pace, Naruto was gently set on top of Arceus's head as the purple color vanished from both Arceus's eyes and Naruto's body. That was the technique known as psychic. Naruto exclaimed mentally. It's a psychic-type attack that allows telepathic control of its targets, whether they are people, objects, or even another attack. It has other uses such as binding targets, moving heavy obstacles and more. I have only seen it used 4 times. Without a word, Arceus took off into the sky, with Naruto holding on so not to fall off. Arceus flew high into the sky and when she finally stopped, they were high enough to see everyone and everything for miles. Look down Naruto, Arceus commanded in a soft tone. Naruto did as she asked and sucked in a breath at all he could see. The reverse world, while bizarre, really had its own beauty to it. From the many waterfalls to the tall buildings that mixed perfectly with all the forests. The giant floating plateaus that moved mysteriously through the air, even some areas defying gravity. Plus with all the Pokemon of various species living their lives peacefully, simply intensified the beauty he saw before him. Tell me Naruto, Arceus began, gaining the young man's attention. When you look at everything from this view, what do you see? Confused by the question, Naruto looked once more before answering her question. I see the Pokemon and the amazing world that you and Giratina have made. Arceus chuckled at Naruto's answer. Well, do you want to know what I see, Naruto-kun? She asked with a warm tone once more. Naruto nodded his head curiously. I see my beautiful and powerful children at work to make their lives happy. Each day they work hard, no matter what happens. I see endless potential for them all to be the very best, but they all still need guidance to break that barrier of strength that even the older ones have hit. They need someone whose potential can match theirs, something they would not find if they stayed in their original dimension. They need a way to reach their well of true strength, and that's where you come in, Naruto. Me? Naruto asked incredulously. How could be anything special? He not only lost easily in his last fight, but was outclassed. As if sensing his thoughts, Arceus continued. Yes, you, Naruto. To have potential doesn't mean you have to win every fight you are in. Even the most powerful of Pokemon have all started small. With this loss, you will reach your potential faster than ever, and the Pokemon alongside you. Just like how all Pokemon are family, as our chosen summoner, you too are part of that family. Naruto was wide-eyed at the god Pokemon's words. A family, a true family. He already thought of the other Pokemon as his family, but to hear it just made him happier than he's ever been before. He knew the Pokemon will always be there for him, they will love him unconditionally, and would never forget about him. Naruto could no longer hold back the tears that flowed down his face. So Naruto, will you stay as our summoner, as our partner and most importantly, our family? Will you grow with us? Arceus asked calmly at first but rose in both power and authority with each word. Yes, Lady Arceus. I will become the best ninja and the most powerful Aura Guardian there ever was. I will surpass the likes of even Sir Auron, just watch me. I will make you all proud. I swear it on my ninja way, and I never go back on my word. I know you will, Naruto-kun, Arceus thought as she stared at her chosen summoner, delighted by Naruto's determination. Well, Naruto-kun, if you want to be the best, then you will have to train really hard, especially to catch up to Sir Auron. You are on the right track though, especially with how you saved those young girls. Get yourself ready, Naruto, because for the next 2 weeks you will train with the strongest Pokemon we can offer before being taken in by the legendaries. Naruto could feel his excitement rise at the thought of more training, even if it meant he will be going through torture. To be trained by Pokemon that even the god of Pokemon called strong meant they had to have impressed Arceus at one point. A thought entered Naruto's mind that both angered and worried him. What are we going to do about my parents? They are starting to notice me again, so they will no doubt notice me gone for 2 weeks. Simple, Naruto, Arceus responded, already knowing he would ask that. We will send a Zoroark in your place. The one I have in mind can also use telepathy to speak if need be. We just need him to last 2 weeks, which I know he can manage easily enough. So when do we begin? Naruto asked, just barely holding back the excitement in his voice. Arceus smirked while releasing a small amount of her power, which not only dwarfed Naruto's at his maximum output but caused sweat to pour down his face. We start now. The two vanished in a flash of light, indicating that teleport was used as Naruto had one final thought. What did I get myself into? As his determination wavered slightly. The academy begins. A full week has went by in the reverse world and Naruto has improved by leaps and bounds. The young blonde was made to train harder than he ever has before, each day that passed during that week with only an hour break after 5 painful hours of sweat. Like Arceus had told him, Naruto was trained by many of the best that the reverse world had to offer him. He trained casting illusions through aura, since his genjutsu was extremely difficult due to his Uzumaki blood, with the Zoroark clan. Due to his high chakra amount from his Uzumaki genes, he couldn't cast even the lowest level of genjutsu, but he could easily break out of even a rank illusions like they were nothing. Thankfully Zoroark had a way around that, by training him in the use of aura through his aura. They trained him in their art and easily showed why they called the masters of illusions. After his training was pushed hard at him, he was able to cast their illusions without twitching. In fact, the only one who cast illusions the way he could would be those that possessed the Sharingan from the Uchiha clan. Now Naruto was no master unlike the ones that trained him. His small illusions, like changing appearances or even making false objects, were made easily and hard to notice. Bigger illusions, like changing the area, were much easier to notice by shinobis. He trained his physical strength with the help of the Machamp, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan clans. They taught him many different ways of fighting, from pure power fighting, kickboxing, and high-speed boxing. His speed was trained by the Pidgeots, Rapidash, and even Ninjasks. They taught him how to move at high speeds and see movement at high speeds. He can currently see up to mid-Chunin speed without difficulty. His training in stealth was done by, much to his chagrin at first, Gengars and many other ghost-type Pokemon along with Shiftries, Sceptiles, Hippowdons, and Kecleons. He trained among the Lucarios so he could gain better control over the aura both within and outside his body. He even entered and trained within his mindscape through meditation and gained more focused control over his aura, though his training was done as far from the Kyuubi's cage as possible due to him being too weak to be in the mighty Bijuu's presence. His aura sense now has a range of 50 yards while standing still, but only 15 yards while on the move, still much better than it was before. His aura sight can now distinguish between people and animals, even while he is on the move. It was no longer just a blob of aura that he sees each time he used it. He also trained his aura-based attacks among with his aura manipulation. His aura sphere, which had trouble beating out low C-rank jutsus, can now not only crush low-rank jutsus but can even hold own against mid-B rank jutsus. He can also extend his aura into either a staff which he can harden it to be as hard as steel, or a sword and can sharpen it to his needs. He can also now separate his aura into two different states, aggressive and peaceful. His aggressive state is not only his most destructive, but also his most dark state. He constantly unleashes a very unnerving feeling in this state, not unlike when a ninja uses ki, killing intent. This state easily strikes fear into his opponents and leaves them frozen stiff in fear, allowing him to crush them easily. This state of being also augments his offensive attacks and makes them more powerful, especially the aura-based moves. His peaceful state is the exact opposite, it's calming and soothing sensation that gives his targets a state of warmth and security. While his aggressive state was used to strike fear, his peaceful state allowed him to calm angered people and help them think with a cleared-up mind. This state utilizes his want and need to help those around him. This state of being augments his defensive and healing capability on not only himself but others he heals as well. That's not to say he neglected his ninja training in the least. The Zoroark that was acting as him would bring scrolls of techniques, taijutsu styles, and jutsus. His training in chakra control was increased thanks to the scrolls, where he had to balance rocks and leaves on his body while walking across the water, an advanced water walking exercise. He learned and mastered many E-rank to C-rank jutsus. He also finally managed to master his first A-rank jutsu, the fire style, intelligent hard work. Though most of his progress came in the form of his fuinjutsu and kenjutsu training. An explosion went off that shook the surrounding ground slightly. From the rising smoke, Naruto walked out coughing and blowing the smoke away from his face. He wore an entirely new attire that Zoroark got for him, thinking it would suit him. Naruto now wore a pure black muscle shirt that easily showed his forming abs, along with gray shinobi pants and dark blue sandals with blood-red straps. On his hands were his new Aura Guardian gloves that held smooth dark blue gems stitched into the back. The gloves were a dark brown color and were thin and fingerless. He also wore a short red scarf around his neck. TCH, I still need to work the power overflow problem, Naruto said to himself as dusted of his clothing. Sitting on the sidelines were Riolu, Zorua, and Eevee. You will get it soon, partner. Just give it time, Riolu stated with a small smile, believing in his friend. Riolu and Eevee nodded their heads in agreement. Eevee has officially become a part of Naruto's team the other day. Eevee got really hurt while practicing one of its attacks due to it getting caught in the backlash. Naruto found Eevee hurt during one of his runs and took care of her, which in turn made Eevee adore Naruto more and asked to be part of his main 6 summons, to which Naruto agreed to. Naruto smiled at his 3 Pokemon, grateful for their encouragement and belief in his abilities. Before he could reply, a bright light shined behind him while releasing a high power output. Naruto's smile widened at who it was. Hello Arceus, how might I help you today? Naruto asked without turning around. Hello Naruto-kun, Arceus responded in a joyful tone. Arceus and the other Pokemon have enjoyed having the young man around and saw his determination to get stronger to be very inspirational. Arceus too has enjoyed having Naruto around, but sadly all good things must come to an end at some point. I have come to tell you that it is time to return back to Konoha. The happy look that was present on Naruto's face did a complete 180 as a cold and indifferent took its place. Nodding his head, Naruto smirked as he felt that he was ready to dominate, even if he didn't want to deal with the Namakazes. Your 3 partners will join you as I teleport all of you to Zoroark's current location, which is near the academy, Arceus said as her eyes turned a white color. Good luck and show them all the strength that they forgot to nurture, teleport. In a flash of white light, Naruto, Eevee, Riolu, and Zorua vanished. The academy. The group reappeared in another flash of light, all of them trying to keep their balance since they were not used to teleporting yet. Shaking the cobwebs from their heads, they took notice of their surroundings, which ended up being a bathroom. Looking ahead, they took notice of another Naruto staring directly at them as he smirked at all of them. It took you all long enough to finally arrive, the other Naruto said as his playful grin widened. Sorry for the delay, Zoroark, Naruto responded to the now revealed Zoroark. In a quick spin of purple light, the Naruto was gone and its place was a completely different creature. Zoroark is a bipedal, gray-brown, fox-like Pokemon with crimson and black accents, not unlike Zorua's. Zoroark also possessed a pointed snout and ears that were red on the inside. There was also red rimming both of its eyes and mouth. It had a large, red, voluminous mane with black tips, which resembles a ponytail, as a teal bangle down its length separates a mass of the mane from the lower portion. It has a black ruff on its upper body that also had pointed shoulders where its long, thin arms protruded from. The arms have spiky extensions of fur at the elbows, and it has red claws on its hands and feet. Zoroark also had light blue irises for its eyes. It's fine, Naruto, Zoroark responded. We are at the academy, in case you were not aware. Also, your sisters have been trying to get closer to you, so don't be surprised if they approach you, especially with the change in wardrobe. The outfit that Zoroark had worn was a bright orange jumpsuit that he thought would be fun to wear. Zoroark simply loved attention. Naruto nodded his head at the dark type. He figured that his outburst to their sudden care for him would cause some changes to occur, if only to keep it quiet that a child of the Hokage had been ignored by his own family. The backlash would definitely cause some problems for them, not like he cared really. Thanks for covering for me, Zoroark, Naruto said as he smiled at the illusion fox Pokemon. I'll pay you back for it in due time, my friend. The fully evolved Pokemon nodded his head as he poofed away, back to the distortion world. Turning to his partners, a grin made its way on Naruto's face. Alright, you 3, let's show these guys what an Aura Ninja and his partners can do. Naruto exclaimed as he pumped his right fist in the air. Eevee jumped onto his left shoulder while Zorua took his right. Riolu opted to nod silently as he wailed alongside his friend. The 4 exited the restroom, making their way to the shinobi class for the first years. Ignoring the strange looks given to them by passerbys, Pokemon weren't exactly a common species, so it was no surprise to them. Naruto stood in front of his classroom's door, feeling a powerful aura signature behind the door along with many smaller ones. Recognizing whose signature it was, Naruto sighed tiredly at having to see him so soon. Riolu, knowing what was wrong, looked to his partner with an encouraging smile. Seeing the smile, Naruto smirked again at his friend's attempt to make him feel better. Taking a deep breath, Naruto opened the door to his classroom and made his way inside. He quickly gained the attention of everyone in the room, especially the girls who were practically drooling. His untamed spiky hair and one bang framing his left eye caused hearts to appear in the girls' eyes. The guys were seeing him as a threat to either their manliness or to the hearts of the girls in the classroom. Mito saw her brother and smiled brightly at him. She loved her dear older brother very much, even if he believed it to be otherwise. She has been trying to get close to him, but hasn't had much luck. He would either ignore her or avoid her altogether. She wasn't going to give up though, she was going to get her brother to love her. She's an Uzumaki woman and they are known to be very stubborn when they have a goal in mind. Nami looked at Naruto in happiness, but was more saddened than anything. Like Mito, she has been trying to get close to her brother, but has had no luck. He shows them little to no emotion, and makes sure to leave as soon as possible if they are even in the same room. They usually had to hunt him down to talk to him, and even that wasn't easy to do. She gave Naruto another sad yet loving gaze as he looked around the room. Oni-chan. Minato, who was giving a speech to the kids, looked towards his estranged son in shock. Like the rest of his family, he has been to reconcile with his oldest but would end up with the same results as the rest of the family. He would avoid them as best he could, vanish for points at a time, or ignore them completely. Minato tried to offer Naruto training, but would only get a glare of anger for his efforts. Looking at him, he was also surprised by his change of appearance. Where did all of the orange go? A few others looking at Naruto were Hinata Hyuga, Satsuki Uchiha, and Sasuke Uchiha. His best friends in the entire village. Hinata and Satsuki were in relief that he made it to class on time, albeit a bit late. They were hoping he was okay since he hasn't hung out with them or their family much this past week. Sasuke was glad that his brother in all but blood was in the academy since he was worried that he didn't sign up due to him not being in class. Iruka Yumino, the class instructor, decided to speak up. "You're late, young man, class has already started," he said in a slight stern tone. He knew that this was the Hokage's son, but he refused to show favoritism and would treat him like anybody else. He didn't see the boy as the Kyuubi either, just a boy wanting to learn how to defend the village like any other shinobi of Konoha. Naruto smirked at his instructor when he felt no malice in his stern tone, just him doing his job and treating him normally. "Maybe this won't be so bad after all. Sorry about that, sensei, I had to use the bathroom and collect my partners here." Ryolu waved to the class, Zorua chuckled and Eevee nodded politely before she tried to hide behind Naruto's head at all the stairs. Everyone took notice of the strange creatures, wondering what they were. The girls had to hold back their squeals at how cute the three Pokemon, especially the shy Eevee, looked. Iruka voiced his thoughts though. Naruto-san, what are they? I have never seen animals like them before." Deciding to hide his summoning contract for now, Naruto answered in half-truths. "I found them in the forest a few years ago, so I'm not sure how to answer that. They are my best friends and are all very strong in their own rights, so I decided to make them my ninja partners, like how the Inuzuka clan has their dogs." To help prove Naruto's point, Ryolu released a small, yet dense, pulse of aura that made everyone's eyes widen. They didn't expect such a small creature to release such a strange, but strong power. The more experienced ninja, Iruka and Minato, were able to see just how powerful Ryolu was from that small burst. "Can we begin class now?" a bored Naruto asked. If they were surprised by that small burst of power, then these next few years will probably make their hearts stop. Nodding his head, Iruka gestured towards the back. "Yes, your seat will be in the back, next to Miss Hinata Hyuga." Naruto looked up and a smile grew on his face, along with a small blush that spread on his cheeks. Hinata Hyuga was what he would call a cute girl. Her indigo blue hair was cut short, but left long enough that it slightly covered her pupilless eyes. She had a pale complexion, but not enough to where she looked unhealthy. She wore a baiga jacket that was very baggy on her. When she saw Naruto, her face grew red from embarrassment before looking at her desk again. Naruto chuckled at his friend's shy nature as he made his way to his seat. When he sat down, he turned to the shy Hyuga and offered her a warm smile. "Hey Hinata, it's good to see again. I'm happy that we could get to be seat nainers." He chuckled as she gave Naruto a shy smile. He gestured to his partners as he introduced them to his friend. "The short stack with the mask is Ryolu, the black ball of fluff on my shoulder is Zorua, and the cute ball of sunshine is Eevee." Ryolu waved to Hinata, but glared at Naruto for how he introduced him. Zorua nodded in her direction with a smirk, not bothered at all from his words, and Eevee jumped into the young Hyuga's lap. Hinata, eeked. slightly as the young Pokemon before looking into its big eyes and unconsciously began petting the young Pokemon. Its fur is so soft, she thought in surprise. It would seem that she likes you, Hinata, Naruto said as he smiled. Eevee is a very shy Pokemon and is normally not so affectionate with new people. She only acts like that with people that she sees as good people. Eevee is a really good judge of character. Okay, quiet down, Iruka said to calm the class. The chatting began to slowly stop, causing the teacher to sweat drop at the kids actually listening to him. This isn't going to happen very often, is it? Minato walked forward and addressed the class. He told them how happy he was to see so many ninja hopefuls and how proud he was them for their first steps in protecting the great tree as it grows. He told them that it won't be easy, but with enough hard work and determination, they could become one of the greats. As he finished his speech, he gave the class a once-over before his gaze stopped on his son. Good luck everyone, and I look forward to seeing your futures, and with that he vanished in a yellow flash. The class, besides Naruto, who didn't care, the three Pokemon who were not impressed, and Naruto's sister, who were too busy looking at Naruto, were in awe at the technique. Afterwards, the class has begun and soon Naruto found himself to be very bored. He knew all this crap already. A bit of chakra theory, which he started learning when he was 4, what it means to be a ninja, and a lesson on how to unlock your chakra, which took forever in his opinion since many kids in the class had yet to learn how to do so. As the class was finally coming to an end, something interesting finally occurred. Another Chunin appeared in a swirl of leaves and whispers into Iruka's ear, causing said Chunin to nod his head as he addressed the class again. Okay everyone, we will be inducting a special addition to our curriculum, he said. Everyone's relatives will attend and watch at the new training grounds set up for the academy students, where you all will spar against each other. This spar will be a test and will take place every 4 months. Unlike our normal spars, this spar will have no limit except no killing or maiming. It will be a way to see where you stand and show what you have learned. Now follow me and I will show you all to the training grounds. Everyone shuffled out of their seats as they made their way after their instructor. As they walked, it was easy to see that some of the students were either nervous, excited, or just plain didn't care. As soon as they arrived, the students were greeted by their awaiting family. Naruto watched closely as Hinata was greeted by her father, Hiashi Hyuga, and the head of the Hyuga clan. His eyes narrowed as he saw that Hiashi, while greeting Hinata, didn't even smile at her. Plus, with the hurt look on her face, it made Naruto angry at how Hiashi was acting. A father should not act that way with their child, damn clan image. Riolu, Eevee, and Zorua sensed Naruto's disdain by and tapped either his cheeks or leg in an attempt to calm him down. Relaxing at his friend's touch, he vowed to help his friend as best he could. Maybe I can get her a Pokemon partner. As the contract holder, Naruto can actually give others Pokemon partners, but he has to be careful of who gets one as that could cause them a lot of trouble. Feeling eyes on him, Naruto looked to his left and saw his mother looking at him along with his 2 sisters. Not feeling like dealing with them right now, Naruto walked the opposite direction and sat under a shaded tree. Kushina felt her heart break as her own son simply ignored her as if she wasn't worth his time. She knew she messed up, she shouldn't haven't forgotten about her baby boy like that. He was her son and she has always looked forward to raising her son along with Minato. But due to everything that was going on and at such a fast pace, she just forgot about him. She had no real excuse or reason to forget, she just did. She loved her son, she really did, and wanted to show him just how much, but Naruto was having none of that. Getting everyone's attention, Iruka announced that everyone's names will be drawn at random. This way, no one will have any clue about who they would be fighting and would force them to adapt in battle. Okay, when I call your names I want you to make your way to the center of the field and make the sign of peace and await my signal to begin. Sahoshi Taka. Naruto tuned out his instructor as he crossed his legs and began meditating. He felt out everyone's aura, trying to scope out everyone's strengths. As he did so, he noticed that the clan heir's auras were more dense than the norm. Not enough that they would be able to use it, but enough to show it was an abnormality. It was probably due to their clan's special chakra that allows use for their Kakei Genkei mixing in slightly with their aura. What he also found curious was that the kids with dojutsus, Hinata, Satsuki, and Sasuke, had an even more dense aura than the others, though it was most prominent around their eyes. As he was thinking about this, he took notice of the aura that surrounded Hinata, Sasuke, and Nami and noticed how their auras seemed different. It was like they. Naruto. The sudden and unexpected shout caused him to flail his arms in shock and fall backwards and slam the back of his head onto the tree. Looking to the culprit, while rubbing the sore spot on his throbbing head, and narrowed his eyes at a laughing Riolu. What was that for, Riolu? I thought you fell asleep, Riolu said in between laughs. Finally calming down, Riolu looked to his partner. Besides, I called you about 6 times, but you wouldn't respond. Eevee and Zorua nodded their heads to prove Riolu had indeed tried to talk to him. Their argument was watched by everyone, who were confused on how Naruto was talking to the strange creature. All the blue one was saying was its name, Riolu, over and over. Having enough of the bickering, and noticing the looks, Zorua smacked both the emanation Pokemon and Naruto. You guys should really stop arguing now, you are attracting needed attention. Plus, you guys are interrupting the young Hyuga girls' match. Looking up, the two saw that they were indeed interrupting both the class and the match. Scratching the back of his head in embarrassment, Naruto apologized. Sorry, don't mind us. Please continue, I promise we won't do it again. Iruka shook his head at their behavior before putting it to the back of his mind for now. Let the match of Hinata Hyuga vs. Kira Inuzuka begin. Kira Inuzuka, the twin of Kiba Inuzuka, was the youngest of the 3 siblings. She had the same black spiky hair that her mother had, with a long bang that covered her left eye. Her Inuzuka mark consisted of 3 interlocking triangles. Her eyes were the same slit pupil, brown that her older brother, by a year, had. She wore a dark blue shirt with an open green jacket over it. She had tan shorts that went to her knees and dark green sandals on her feet. Kira and Hinata have been good friends for a few years and were even rivals, in Kira's opinion. Let's do this, Hinata, Kira yelled before she went into her clan's taijutsu stance. I will win this time. Hinata, while shy, was quite a skilled fighter when she actually tried. Kira was the only opponent that Hinata could go against and not worry about hurting them too much, a problem she gained from seeing just how much damage the gentle fist could do a person. Hinata followed suit and entered her clan's feared gentle fist taijutsu stance. She will do her best to win this match, especially with her father and Naruto watching, 2 people she really wants to impress. Kira took off with low genin speed towards Hinata, who quickly narrowed her eyes on her opponent, easily being able to see her still. As the fight continued on with the 2 fighters clashing back and forth, Naruto actually whistled lowly as he felt impressed so far. Kira was a really fast fighter, too fast for the average academy student. Her strikes, while wild, were very strong and ferocious. Hinata, while not being as fast as Kira, was very agile and quick on her reaction time. The way she moved and bent around Kira's attack that she could not block, it was like she was dancing a very intricate dance. Her strikes were nowhere near as strong as Kira's, which is unusual for Hyuga, but they were much more precise. It was a battle between true opposites. Hinata dodged another swipe by Kira, and quickly dropped low and kicked out with her leg. This caused Kira to trip slightly before she regained her balance and lashed out with a kick that Hinata blocked. Using this slight delay, Kira pushed with her arms and jumped away from her Hyuga opponent and quickly gained distance. The fighters stared at each other for a few seconds before they rushed at one another once more. Feeling bouncing on his lap, Naruto looked down and smiled as he watched Eevee cheer Hinata on. It would seem Eevee has taken a real shine to Hinata. He looked to his side and saw that Zorua was unusually very focused on the match. Putting his focus back to the match, he saw that Hinata has just kicked Kira away with mule kick after said Inuzuka tripped her. As Kira gained her bearings once more, the two fighters stared into the other's eyes, panting heavily. They were both on their final legs and knew that this will be their last strike, the first to get hit is the loser. With a loud cry, they charged at each other and thrust their arms forward. Slam! The sound of a fist hitting flesh echoed throughout the training field as the two fighters stood in front of each, both with their arms stretched outward. Slowly, one of the two slumped forward as she fell. Falling backwards, Kira Inuzuka passed out, signifying Hinata as the winner. Everyone cheered at the surprisingly intense fight. Hiyashi couldn't help but smile slightly at seeing his supposed weak daughter win her first match at the academy. After that though, most of the other matches were pretty straightforward and most were one-sided until Nami went up against Satsuki. The fight was the most intense match yet, with neither girl willing to lose. They both refused to lose in front of the one they wanted to notice their skills the most, Naruto. Alas, after about 15 minutes of fighting and both being covered in sweat, Satsuki passed out from exhaustion. While Satsuki easily matched Nami in terms of pure skill and technique, she lost due to Nami having much better stamina than her. Perks of not only being an Uzumaki, who are well known for having a lot of stamina among other things, and a Jinchuriki. Next up was Mito against a pink-haired girl named Sakura Haruno. It wasn't too surprising to see that Mito easily dominated the match and won in a short amount of time due to it being a girl that has trained since she was 3 and a girl that came from a civilian family. When Mito won, she looked towards her brother for any sign of his approval. Her efforts were surprisingly rewarded when Naruto gave her a small nod of acknowledgement, causing her to have a bright smile on her face. Rolling his eyes at her excitement, Naruto turned his attention back to his partners before he heard Iruka call out. Next up is Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. This announcement gained the attention of the 3 Namikaze girls, Hinata, and Satsuki Uchiha, who was resting beside her mother. All of them were curious to see how well Naruto will do against an Uchiha, though the Namikazes were worried since as far as they knew, Naruto has had no training. As the neglected Uzumaki walked onto the stage, he told his partners to observe the match. Sasuke and Naruto were staring at one another as they made the sign of peace. Naruto smirked at his friend who gave him a challenging grin in return. Feeling the strong aura around Sasuke, Naruto was getting excited about the match. Begin. Sasuke jumped back instantly so to gain some distance from Naruto, who stood there and kept his gaze on Sasuke. The Uchiha took out 3 shurikens before throwing them at his blonde-red opponent with pinpoint accuracy. Taking out a kunai, Sasuke rushed at Naruto. Said fighter focused his eyes on the incoming shurikens before he dodged the first one that reached him. As the other 2 crossed by him, he reached out and stuck his fingers in the holes of the weapons. Making sure they kept spinning, he tossed them back at their sender with high speed that they looked like a blur to many. Sasuke's eyes widened at the incoming shurikens, rolling out of the way as he glared at his opponent slightly. He continued his rush at Naruto, kunai ready to begin slashing at his flesh. Waiting for him, Naruto flexed his fingers as he prepared to counter. Reaching out, Naruto dodged an upward slash before lashing out with his knee and hit the bottom of Sasuke's kunai, knocking it out of his grip. This move caused Sasuke to hesitate and allowed Naruto enough time to grab the kunai from the air and thrust the sharp weapon at Sasuke. Thanks to his reflex, Sasuke pulled out another kunai and blocked Naruto's attack. The 2 fighters were stuck in a power struggle as they grunted and glared at their opponent. He's actually really good, Naruto thought. So let's take this up a notch then. Naruto quickly moved to the side, the sudden action caused Sasuke to stumble forward. Channeling some aura to palm, Naruto slammed it into his chest, which sent the Uchiha flying backwards. Naruto rushed towards Uchiha, ready to end the match as fast he could. Sasuke, who just got his second wind, got up and started making hand signs. This will definitely tire me out since I haven't fully mastered it, but at least I will still win this. He thought to himself as he made the final hand sign and began molding the chakra in his mouth. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. With a mighty lung forward, he released a ball of fire that was about as big as Naruto, not too big considering Naruto was not that tall. The spectators were wide-eyed at the use of the fire jutsu, but none more than the Namikaze girls. Kushina was about to jump in to stop the attack from reaching her son, knowing that he didn't have a technique to protect himself from the ball of fire, since he had no training. Naruto was slightly surprised by the rushing fireball, but he really should have expected this from an Uchiha. This jutsu is rite of passage for the clan. Summoning up his aura once more, Naruto stopped running and put both of his hands forward and open-palmed. His glowed slightly as his gathered aura began to form water. Water gun. He yelled out. The water that formed shot out like a jet and completely blocked the ball of fire. A small cloud of steam quickly formed as the water gun slowly pushed the Uchiha's jutsu back, before it obliterated it and rushed towards Sasuke. Sasuke's eyes widened at the rushing water, not expecting Naruto to know a water jutsu, especially one that beat out his fire one. Too surprised, he didn't react in time as the jet of water slammed into and pushed him into a nearby tree. He slammed into it with another force that the tree shook violently. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, realizing how much aura that the attack took from him. One of the most basic water attacks should not have taken that much aura from me. I still need to work on the water attacks if it does that, he thought as he kept his eyes on Sasuke. So focused on Sasuke he missed the call from Iruka Yumino. The winner of the match, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze.